Hello everyone and welcome to today's video. As you can see, we are in the new prepared 3D version 5. I picked this up last night and installed it overnight. I'll tell you what, the servers were a pain in the arse to actually get the actual download from. It took me about 45 minutes to even get to the downloaded page after I'd even purchased it. And even trying to purchase it was a pain. The servers must have been very overloaded. But in today's video, I'm going to give you my first thoughts on P3D version 5. And yeah, it's going to be an interesting one because obviously there's been a lot of hype around it in terms of, you know, the performance is meant to be increased, like nearly double what it was last on P3D version 4 in terms of certain payware add-ons and stuff like that, and just in terms of how the general performance works on this sim. So, going to give you my first impressions. I have literally maxed out everything. Everything is just maxed out on settings in terms of graphics. Shadows and everything. So hopefully it'll look good for you guys. Obviously there's no scenery installed or anything. It's just bog standard P3D. Back to the bare bones. While we wait for the developers now to release their new installers for us to be able to get the new add-ons that we want for it. So without further ado, let's take a little look into it. So we're currently sat in the F35 Lightning. I think it was the A version, F35A, whatever it's called, F35-2, I'm not too sure. But anyway, we're in the virtual cockpit now. Very quick movements using the joystick. Looks good inside, but we'll move to spot view. I've got the frame rate counter on at the top. Bear in mind, this is all maxed out. You know, we're averaging about 30 to 40 frames a second here. Averaging around 35 FPS with everything set to unlimited. Does look very nice with the shadows and everything and the reflections. Depending on where you look, it bounces up and down, but you can see up in the top left corner the GPU memory. So at the moment it's using 5.5 gig of 9.2. I have got an 11 gig graphics card, but obviously it separates 2 gig for other stuff. So at the moment it's still got a lot of free VRAM to use. Not VRAM. Well, it is VRAM, isn't it? Google, not Google VRAM. Graphics RAM. So yeah. Anyway, let's take off. Go for a little bit of a fly around, and we'll see how it goes. Yeah, let's have a go. Very nice and smooth. Nice solid 35 frames a second. 100% fuel. Maybe we could have tried that VTOL takeoff, maybe. There we go. I'm pretty sure I've heard that something about the default airport was designed by OrbX. Oh, it looks nice though. There we go. And the frame rate's now increasing as we leave the ground. Bear in mind, this is all bog standard stuff. I haven't got any traffic set on, as I don't really think we needed it, but it looks, from what I understand, or what I remember of P3D version 4 without any payware add-ons, it looks very good. I'm going to try and bring that afterburner down a little bit, just so we got a nice bit of visuals and not too much sound, really. Yeah, performance is looking good. We're averaging, you know, anywhere between 30 to 40 frames. You can see it's bouncing up a little bit, up and down in the virtual cockpit. And this is with everything maxed out. So I can't imagine that everyone would have these sort of settings on. And I'm sure that when payware add-on developers bring out scenery, it'll be very optimized for the new DirectX 12 engine, which we're now using. I've heard that they've redone a lot of the stuff in P3D version 5 in terms of scenery, generic stuff, rewritten a lot of it. It's taken a lot of time to get to that point, but you can obviously see there is strange things, like here, like there's loads of like sand all around, and all of a sudden there's random bits of grass. That might be like it in real life, I'm not too sure, but we are at the Randolph airbase, I believe. So yeah, it's not too bad. You can see the frames jumping up and down a little bit, but we're averaging around 35 to 40 frames a second currently. I have seen it drop down to about 18, but I've heard that a lot of people have been getting a lot of performance increases. As you can see, it's just rendering out down there in the bottom right corner, just over there. But the scenery does look good. If you go to an outside view, you seem to get a lot better FPS. I'm bouncing up anywhere between, there you go, that hopped up about 60 FPS a minute ago. But considering the scenery density currently, and the way that it looks much better than P3D version 4 from my initial views. I do like the spot view of this F-35. Looks very, very nice. But yeah, you know, first thoughts. I'm pretty impressed actually with the way that the performance is. Considering I've got everything on max, most people wouldn't have these settings, so I will quickly go in and show you. I will do a graphic settings video as well. So if we go over here, running that FX AA on, annualizing, set on 8 times super sampling, VSync on, triple buffering, frame rate unlimited, anastrophic texture filtering is times 16, you know, 4K textures. You can literally just see everything's maxed out. Maybe we'll put these on as well. We'll enable all the reflections now as well and see how that affects things. Got windshield, volumetric fog, turbulence, and thermal effects. Let's have a look at the lighting. Got enable HDR. Let's put all of these shadows and see what it does. See what performance, dynamic reflections. Let's do ultra. Let's try that. What we're also going to do is add a little bit of road traffic vehicles. Shit, raised leisure boats, maybe some air. Yeah, we'll do that as well. Now let's see what that kind of does. Load times are specifically better. Jesus Christ. That was fast. Usually it is fast once it's already loaded up, but I've heard that it does something with these compiling the initial shaders. You don't usually get this sort of stuff in P3D version 4, but I'm intrigued to... I did read some stuff about it, but I can't remember exclusively what it actually means. So we'll wait for it to load up now and kind of see where we get with it. Ooh, okay. Right, so now you can see the performance has taken a little bit of a hit since we've added that stuff in. We're now averaging at about 20 frames a second. But even that's not bad considering of what I've done in terms of all the dynamic lighting, reflections on everything. Yeah, let's have a look outside. Outside has, yeah, about 25 frames per second now. Do some... So aircraft's a bit of a strange one to fly. Yeah, its performance is better, much better than P3D version 4 in terms of if you were to do this in P3D version 4, it would not be like this as smooth. You'd probably be sat at like 10 frames a second, but the scenery after enabling all them textures and the dynamic lighting looks much better. Much, much better. You can see some little holes in the scenery. Maybe it might be a good idea to take this over to London. Go and see what it's like over a crowded London city. As we all know, it doesn't work very well in P3D version 4, even with the Orbex stuff. So I think we go and give it a go over there. But you can see up there as well, the GPU memory now has gone up to 6.1 from about 5.5. So it's using a fair bit more than what it was before. So yeah, it's not too bad, but I'm interested to see what it does over London. We're bouncing now between 25 and 30 frames per second as we got out of that kind of dense scenery area. But let's see what it's like over London, shall we? So if we go to scenario, where's the navigation? Go to airport. We're going to sit ourselves in London City Airport and see how this reacts now. EGLC. Yes, that's where we want to go. Restore time on move. There we go. Let's see how quickly the load times are. Obviously, this will probably be massively effective when everyone starts adding payware add-ons into this and payware aircraft. Obviously, a lot of this has already been optimised by Lockheed for their own system. We've now got to wait for the developers to optimise it themselves for the new system with their payware add-ons. Such as like the Quality Wings aircraft, the PMDG aircraft, in the hope that most of them will be free as well. I've heard that a lot of the developers are giving away a lot of their free upgrades with no cost. Ooh, okay, right. So while it renders itself out, we will wait here. I'll tell you what, it looks very cartoony actually. You can still see a lot here because So we'll look at a little spot view. So it's at about 20 frames a second in the virtual cockpit. There you go. It's being a bit weird. So we're averaging about 15 to 20 frames a second on the outside view. Bear in mind, you saw the settings we're using, so maybe we'll give it a little bit of a go and see where it takes us. It's not bad, getting about 28 there. I haven't configured any of the flaps either, so I'm not too sure actually what you're up there. It's not too bad actually. You're still getting about 20 FPS on average. Well, you're averaging about 15 to 20. The scenery really doesn't look that great, I'm not going to lie. This is where we hope that we can get Orbex True Earth England, UK, and see what it kind of looks like. There's obviously a lot of scenery into there, but you can see the draw distance on it looks much greater actually than what it did in P3D version 4. I wonder if there's a few settings. Let's see if we can tweak a few things. It's not too bad considering you're still getting 20 FPS. Because you're never really going to have all this sort of stuff on, like the reflections. So let's turn the reflections back on. Back off. Let's turn all of these things off. Most people don't bother about shadows. Cast, but most people don't receive. I'm interested to see how much the dynamic reflections really affects this sort of stuff. So do that. Okay, but now we only have an aircraft. There you go, look, so we've now bounced up to about an average, just by removing all them reflections. About an average now of about 30 FPS, 25 to 30 FPS on the outside view. So yeah, I'm pretty impressed, I'm not going to lie, for the... Taking a little bit of time to load the virtual cockpit there. I'm pretty impressed, I'm not going to lie. There you go, you got about 25 to 30 frames per second in the cockpit. For standard scenery, it's not too bad, but when you compare it to what the Orbex True Earth England looks like, then yeah, it doesn't look that great. But I'll be honest, I'll be really honest, I think this is, performance-wise, probably on par, a little bit closer to X-Plane than what we thought. Obviously with the new Vulcan engine, I've tried that on X-Plane and it's very good. It's very, very good, I must say. But I think we'll only be able to tell the sort of performance impacts realistically when we start seeing payware developers come out with their sceneries, with their updated sceneries with the installers and stuff. So let's go and get this landed back at London City, and if I can find it again, wherever it's disappeared to, over there by the dome. Let's go and get this landed back over at London City. I think my initial thoughts, I think it looks much better than what it did before. I think the performance is far, far better. If you were trying to do this in version 4, you probably wouldn't get this sort of performance. Nice little barrel roll there. Actually, we're not going to land. It'll be too tricky because I haven't assigned any of the buttons on my joystick and throttle. The only things that works are literally the throttle and the moving around with the joystick, etc. I don't even know what the flat configuration is, so we'll leave that. But yeah, this is basically my first thoughts on P3D version 5. I think it's very good for my first impression, but I think we're going to have to wait a little while to... What the hell is that? That's a strange looking building. Yeah, I think we're going to have to wait a little while before we see the full benefits of P3D version 5 running on the new DX12. General performance seems a lot better, even over London. If you were to do this in version 4, yeah, your frame rates would have been stuck, like just completely stuck at like 13 frames a second, especially coming into London. If you were coming in payware add-on with something like Orbex, FTX, England, yeah, your frame rates would just hit the pan, and that's with the settings turned all the way down. So I really can't fault it, considering we're running on max everything right now, pretty much, except from some of the reflections and shadow quality. But yeah, that's that's going to be it, I believe, for this video. I think I'm going to try and tinker around with the graphics, kind of get a good happy medium. Not many people will run this on full graphics, I don't think, unless you've got some ultra uber system. I've got a pretty uber system as it is, but you know, you can even see here that it's still using a hell of a lot of GPU memory to get it to where it is. But 6 gigs, not too bad for an application of this sort of size and usage. So yeah. But yeah, anyway guys, I hope you have enjoyed it. This has been P3D version 5 and my initial thoughts. This will be going out later today, I believe. So hopefully you guys can enjoy it. And if you are new to the channel, please make sure you hit the subscribe button. Please make sure you give it a like rating if it has helped, to give you a little bit of an insight into P3D version 5. And yeah, turn on that little bell in the corner. That will give you post notifications to let you know when I go live and when I post a new video, and that means you can come and join in the action as soon as possible. So anyway guys, thanks for watching, and I will catch you in the next one. Peace.